Confession 1. I intentionally mixed up medication labels for my ailing father because he was an abusive father all my life. Unfortunately, the hospice nurse noticed the mistake and fixed it. They assumed one of us mishandled his meds and then lectured us on how we need to pay attention and be careful with his medication. Confession 2. I discovered my boss was embezzling funds. I never reported it. It was a small company, and I hated the owners. So I did nothing. Confession 3. I hacked into my ex's email, by hack I mean he never changed his passwords, and sent compromising messages to his coworkers. A few months later I found out, despite him proclaiming his innocence and trying to prove it wasn't him, he was fired with cause and was ineligible for unemployment. Confession 4. I lied about having a terminal illness to my spouse, so they would marry me quickly. We dated for a little bit, but she wasn't ready. I knew she had a strong caring nature, so I faked the illness. Shortly after our son was born, I had a miraculous recovery. Confession 5. I tampered with my sister's car brakes because she's always annoying me. She gets everything. After the resulting accident, our parents bought her a new SUV. Confession 6. I stole confidential information from my company and gave it to a competitor. I was passed over for a promotion that was long overdue. When it happened, I quit shortly after and anonymously gave all the information to a competitor. I'm not sure if they ever used it, but last I heard my former employer has been struggling to stay open. Confession 7. I trapped my best friend in a compromising situation and took the photos. She comes from a crazy conservative family. We never really got along, and she was a bit of a horrible person. When she mentioned that maybe she should do an OnlyFans, I said, "Let's take some photos and see how you feel." She agreed and I used her phone. I secretly sent the photos to myself as I took them. She didn't know until it was too late. Confession 8. I found my neighbor's lost dog but kept it hidden because they're horrible people and horrible dog owners. Eventually I found the dog a better home. The new owner sent me pictures of the dog and he is looking healthier than ever. Confession 9. I pretended to be infertile to my spouse while secretly taking birth control because I don't want children with them. I don't know why I'm still with him and maybe that will change, but I know I don't want to have kids with him. Confession 10. I forged my parents' will, making it look like I was the sole beneficiary. After my parents died, I inherited everything. My siblings fought it in court, I feigned being on their side. Eventually, everything was settled in a 90-10 split. I kept 90% of the inheritance and my two siblings split the remaining 10%. Confession 11. I purposefully sabotaged a colleague's important presentation because I wanted the promotion they were in line for. In the end, I didn't get the promotion, but neither did they. So I'd consider that a win. I've catfished my high school bully for over a year. Eventually they lost interest, but before they did, I still convinced them to send me more than $10,000. Confession 12. I cheated on my spouse during a trip and contracted an STD, which I then passed on to my spouse. They believe they gave it to me. I asked why they think they gave it to me, and they confessed they'd been having an affair at work for the last 6 months. Confession 13. I arranged an accidental meeting between my spouse and his mistress. He tried to keep it a secret, but I eventually found out. I didn't confront him. I played along and watched. When he was scheduled to meet with an important potential client, his mistress thought they were meeting for dinner. Short version of the ensuing chaos, he didn't get the client and he lost his job. I've already filed for divorce. Confession 14. I leaked all the compromising and embarrassing content of a former friend of mine, after I found out they started dating my ex. We'd been lifelong friends, and they knew the heartache my ex put me through. So, when I found out, there was only one reasonable thing to do. Humiliate them by revealing every secret. Confession 15. I managed to rig the HOA election at my local community association because I couldn't stand the thought of my neighbor being in charge. He is the most incompetent person I've ever met. Since he is also retired, he has nothing but time to walk around and inspect everyone's lawn.